To be quite honest, the one guest that I always wanted to interview, I got to do as my birthday show. Back in April, we got John Kastner from the Doughboys, and I've been friends with him for 20 some odd years, and I've hung out with him plenty of times, but I always wanted to interview him. So when I asked him, and he was like, "What date?" And I told him the date, and he kind of was like, "I don't know." And then I was like, "That's my birthday show." He's like, "Oh, it's your birthday show? Definitely then."
This is Rob Ruckus.
Hey, this is Kate Clover.
Hey guys, it's Nick Collins here from The Effect and Better Strangers.
Hi, my name is Madeline Rose.
Hey, it's Ben McKelvey.
It's Tim Howard here from Mike and the Mechanics.
Hello, I'm Amanda Lehman.
I'm Billy Harvey.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Casey Sampson from the band Twist Stop.
Hey, it's Tony from Fastball.
Hello, everybody. My name is Isaiah Mitchell.
Hey, guys, it's Matt here from the White Lakes.
You're listening to Almost Famous Magazine.
Come join us for this interview. Check it out, Almost Famous Magazine.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Almost Famous Magazine, The Hang. And let me tell you, we're going to have one hell of a hang today. We're going to do something absolutely new. We haven't done it before, but there are podcasts out there about music and art and entertainment. We have the most amazing podcast about punk flipping rock. Oh, what the hell? Punk fucking rock. On our podcast today, we have just Paul. We got Gizz Lazlo. Remember his name? He's the guy in that real estate band, right? And this is, they're the host of the You Know What You Should Do podcast. It's all about punk rock. So we're going to just hit it out of the gate today. I've not met Paul before until just moments ago, so you never know what kind of surprises he's going to bring to the table. But we have met Gizz Lazlo previously from LA Slumlords. He is the king of the real estate bands. I've been working on other names. I've been working on other names for you, Gizz. Upstairs or Penthouse Suite. So any other bands you start, I've got the real estate names for you. How you guys been? How you doing today?
Really good, man. Really good. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for bringing us in, man.
Absolutely. This is gonna be exciting. I mean, we're gonna self promote a little bit here, right? And that's what it is, helping everybody out. I mean, especially in the punk rock world. I know Gizz from heading out to punk rock bowling just back in June, and probably seeing what I contend to be the happiest person at punk rock bowling. I have the happiest photo of him sitting behind the drum set, and I've talked to other people in LA Slumlords, and I'm doing a poll to who they thought was happiest on stage, but I think it's Gizz. I'm partial.
He was a super Muppet.
Isn't he? Okay, so let's talk. Okay, Paul, look, we don't know each other's backgrounds, but I've got this theory. Maybe you can help me with this. There's this thing called drummer face.
Yeah.
Guitarists, let's be honest. Every guitarist, they've got that clenched Bruce Springsteen, I got to get one out kind of face, right? They're just about to squeeze one out on stage. But drummers, on the other hand, okay,
it's an aggressive,
at the other end of the spectrum.
Open. It's a mouth open, aggressive, fucking sweat flying.
Oh my God! Tell me if I'm wrong, but every single drummer, there should be someone in the audience who could do a complete tonsil exam during one of their performances.
Yeah. That'd be a senior tongue depressor, but he'd get it.
I mean, Gizz, at least, I'll be honest, Gizz's drummer face compared to many others is just this happiness. And I love that. I told him, I tell everybody, his happiness playing drums that day at Punk Rock Bowling was amazing.
He's a golden lab in a mud puddle.
Oh, that's awesome.
Maybe the golden shower. You're true. I don't know.
Oh my God.
That's why I love me.
I'm trying to get away.
You stay together on this is the only way we're going to get the video to work. There you go. That's good. Be close, like you know each other. So let's talk a little bit about how did your podcast come about and the purpose of it and just what you've been doing with it for this. I think you've been around about 6-7 months now.
35 episodes?
We're at 9 months now. We started in January. We started the first week of January. We did our show with just me and him introducing ourselves. The second week we had James, and then we had to take a few weeks off because of my father. And then we came back in February, and then we took another couple of weeks so I could prepare for the funeral. And then once the funeral was done, we've done every week since then. I've missed one episode, and he's missed one episode. And we got guest hosts to fill in, but our show's just about, just telling the stories of my friends that, we grew up together, or we played together, toured together, been in bands together, or just shared the stage. What's unique about us is that he's the crowd and I'm the stage. He's been part of the scene forever, but not necessarily in a band. He just went to see shows, and he's seen me. We met in 2010 during the Gizz Lazlo's Place 20th anniversary tour. He met me at the Steel Pit in Tahunga. And then, it was last year, 2 years ago now. No, about a year ago.
It was the beginning of last year. Just about a year plus.
When I just joined Slumlords, our bass player, Patty, is very close to him, very close friends, and he told me, "Hey, guess who's playing drums for LA Slumlords? It's Gizz Lazlo." So one day he came down, we hung out for about an hour, and it was just like, we've been best friends for forever.
There was booze hall, and James had to tell us to stop talking because there was a rehearsal going on.
Yeah.
He's a baby.
But what I love about Paul is that he's very knowledgeable about punk rock, and other music, So when we talk, we delve in to what a band is, or what the band we're listening to is. And we're but what I really love about when we just hang out outside of the podcast is if we're listening to something, we automatically, it's like, oh, that reminds me of this band. And then he'll go on YouTube and then he's introduced me to so many bands.
The YouTube wormhole between the two of us could go on for days. I mean, literally, like you get some caffeine and some whiskey in here, and we could probably do 24 hours of just like YouTube wormholes and then researching Discogs and whatnot.
We've toyed with the idea for our season finale in December is we're going to do, a few hours of just me and him
digging into music
and YouTube and, just talking about, the bands that we've interviewed this year. And just bands that we would love to interview and bands that are no longer around that we would have loved to interview.
And leave it open so the bands can call in or even video in so that we can actually get a kind of a bigger conversation going between everybody. Because the biggest point of what we do is, like, whoever we're interviewing, learn about their history. Mm-hmm. Kind of an A to Z on, like, well, how'd you get here? Why are you here? Why are you still here? What is wrong with you? So that's really kind of the fun perspective that we bring to it.
And also, too, that he and I, him being part of the crowd, is that, when he's watching a band, he's actually looking at the gear that the band is using. I'm on the stage, I could give two fucks, what guitar, what amp. And he actually asks, our guest, hey, what is your gear? What makes your sound? And I love that, cause then that's like, that's a question I've never asked my friends, So it's really cool, man. And we've also discussed it every Monday. We do our podcast at 7:00, and right around noon, both of us are just like
this.
I don't want to do it tonight. I just don't want to do it.
No, I'm
tired. I'm over it. But as soon as we get here,
it's like therapy.
Yeah, it is. About 5:00, I show up here at the studio, and he's already here, and we start talking about our guest, and we start listening to their music, and all of a sudden, in an instant, we're ready. We're ready. And then 6:45 comes around, we're just like chomping at the bit.
So, like, a little bit of social lubrication.
Social lubrication. I like them better than
wait, be careful there. There's two men in the room together. Let's be careful with the word lubrication.
Hey,
we know P. Diddy.
Not anymore, He's gone.
I went to the Brown party.
Oh, my God.
Is that the after party of the white?
That's just...
He got that jacket at the white party.
I made this jacket at the white party.
So now you guys are on Mondays. You're coming in from the West Coast. Do you guys just go live every week, or are you recording
Yes.
these? Where can people, if they miss them, where can they find them? Do you guys have them on YouTube or anything?
We're on YouTube at Do Podcast, but the C in cast is an X.
That was his idea. I didn't do that. But you can just type in, you know what you should do, and do is DU. So you know what you should do on YouTube, and you'll pull us up.
Okay, cool.
And you can get us on Facebook as well. We go live on here.
So you've been 9 months. The baby's due pretty soon. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to the maternity episode. Yep. And now, what's been so far? Okay, the coolest moment of all your episodes. Like, if I'm gonna go back on YouTube and check them out, which episode do I want to check out and why?
That's kind of hard for me.
That's a difficult one.
To me, I thought my favorite episode was Chuck Poquette from the Bourbon Saints, because he showed up and he was just like, "Yeah, dude, I'm not drinking," and he made this Irish American drink, and it was absolutely amazing. He goes, "Oh, let me have a sip." He took one sip. And he goes, "Wow, I want one," and proceeded to drink 2 or 3 of them that night.
Yeah,
and all 3 of us got hammered, but it was so much fun because he's such a funny guy. And Vince Hero was fucking hilarious.
Vince was fun as shit. Ian Downs, great. He's a good interview. Like, I mean, I don't think I could pick a favorite just yet. There's a few in the future that I'm looking forward to, like just drooling about. So I don't know if I have a favorite. I think they're all been really good. I don't think we've had a bad one.
No. I think last week was kind of bad.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a great moments, but since you guys are new to podcasting, have you had any one of those like really weird, awkward moments? Where
last week.
Yeah. Last week, our guy. Well, we don't want to say his name.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
He tended to, he's not a drinker, and he knows we drink, so he decided sometimes we do remote like we're doing right now. And he was at home. He was in his office, and he bought a bottle of whiskey, and he was joining us with some drinks. And by the end of the hour, an ex decided to comment, and he went in on a tirade for like 8 to 9 minutes about how much he missed her. And he has a girlfriend that he lives with, and he was like, on the drive home, he called me up. He's like, "Dude, we got to edit out like 9 minutes."
Yeah, I was trying to cut him off for a good 5 or 6 minutes. I'm like, "Hey, how about not?"
So that was very awkward. To me, it wasn't really awkward, but
I knew it was going to be for him, so it became for me.
Yeah.
So it's the first.
Gizz has conversations like that, 3-4 times a day with people. So
yeah,
that's his MO.
Yeah, but it was the first episode we actually had to edit.
Been there. Sometimes people let a little bit something slip, and you got to take it out. We try not to do that here.
That's going to happen in 3, 2, 1. No.
I already dropped the F-bomb. It doesn't matter at this point. We're just running with it. So you've got episodes coming up. What is it? Holy cow! It's October already. Where the hell did the year go? October, November, December. You got 3 more months. Can you give us a preview of any names people might know that they should look out for who may be coming up on the podcast?
Let's see.
We've got
calling them now to book them.
We got next week or this Monday we have Brandon from Fairvale. The following week we have Greg and Ike from the Electric Ferrets. Ike was also in Bad Town Boys and Dead Lazlo's Place with me. So that's going to be a fun one. Arnulfo from Drastic Actions, an Oi band out of Texas, Corpus Christi, Texas. Tom Commissar from Bad Town Boys is going to be on. Keith Morris from the Circle Jerks. Adam Nye from Too Bad Eugene. Jean-Luc from Headline Records, which is a really great record store here in Hollywood.
We were talking today, and it was about maybe not always having musicians, like once a month, kind of changing it up. So getting you on to be fun.
Yeah, we're gonna have you on.
I want to get some journalists and venue owners, record shop owners, that kind of stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I'm a little booked for the next few weeks, but after that, I think we can definitely work out there. I mean, look, I'm prepping for this big interview. Okay, because my big get is this guy James from LA Slumlords. You know, apparently having interviewed Patty and
Bill,
Lennon and Gizz, I left the most important member out. So
no, you didn't.
we're gonna
We got him already.
Yeah, I'm right here.
There you go.
I'm right. I do the tour managing of those guys. I'm right here.
Yeah, he was actually our tour manager when we did the Vegas show.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do this. Since your episode will air first, but he may not get a chance to see it. What should I ask James that the average person wouldn't ask him?
How many bands has he been in?
Oh. Ask him about how he got Patty to do vocals. He'll cry a little bit.
Yeah.
And make, if you can get him to cry, you're my hero.
Ask him about his hand because it's all fucked up right now.
Oh man.
What did he get it caught down the drain?
He was wrenching on something and the knuckle, something happened to his knuckles. On Tuesday he could barely play guitar. We have a rehearsal tonight. We're auditioning somebody on bass, and who knows how that's going to go.
He's going to be pissed when he sees this.
Duct tape the pick to his hand.
I'm going to get him on those handheld mixers.
Dude, wait a minute. Have you seen Mr. Big just finished up their very last tour. Did you see Billy Sheehan playing the bass with an electric drill?
No.
Dude, you got to check that out.
I will watch the hell out of that.
Yeah, he's got like an electric drill. He's running up and down. He's got this big bit on. He's running up and down the strings.
Didn't any Van Halen do that?
I don't think he needed to.
I think for like a ring. I think it was for some sound effect or something.
I don't know. I hadn't honestly. I'd never seen anything like that before. So but then again,
he plays guitar with the dildo.
No, I don't. I play guitar with a hammer.
Oh,
So I'd not seen anybody live using maybe in studio, but making a similar noise. But I hadn't seen it actually in action, right? Live. So that was kind of cool. So now, if there's anybody, like, do you have a fantasy guest? Like, if there was one huge get that you could go after that you've not had on yet, who would that person be?
Does it have to be punk rock related?
No.
Okay.
No, you're on my podcast, not on yours. So it can be anybody, but
to be quite honest, the one guest that I always wanted to interview, I got to do as my birthday show. Back in April, we got John Kastner from the Doughboys, and I've been friends with him for 20 some odd years, and I've hung out with him plenty of times, but I always wanted to interview him. So when I asked him, and he was like, "What date?" And I told him the date, and he kind of was like, "I don't know." And then I was like, "That's my birthday show." He's like, "Oh, it's your birthday show? Definitely then." And it was such a fun interview, and just the stories that he has, because he knows everybody and played with everybody.
It's always interesting when you interview someone right? Mm-hmm. So here's my question. What did you learn in that interview that you didn't know from your friendship with him?
The stories that he told about, what was his name? I can't remember now. He just recently passed away.
Oh, I don't know. I'm still at work.
Oh, man. Damn it.
Dude, so many people died this week. It's hard to remember.
Life, but it was somebody who has recently passed away, and he was just huge in the scene, and he got to record a song with him, and he actually sent us the song.
Mark Lanigan.
Yeah, there you go. And it was just the stories that he told about that recording session, and the stories that he had about him just knowing him. Those were like precious stories, because to me, it's not about, a lot of the times it's not about the music that we've done or anything like that. It's the people that we've encountered, the people we've met, through doing this. Like this guy.
The experience along the way has been magic.
Like him, like every week he's just like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I finally met him." As a matter of fact, perfect example, when we were at my dad's reception for his funeral, he was there, he was at the funeral, and he came to the reception, and he kept coming up, and he goes, "Dude, that's so-and-so.
That's so-and-so." That's so, like, what the fuck?
Like, dude, how do you know these guys? Like, dude, I grew up listening to all these guys, and this is like a who's who of punk rock here, And it's a funeral. Like, whoa, dude, like these people actually care, and And I was like, oh, we're going to have him on the show. We're going to have him on the show. And most of the people that you met that night have already been on the show.
We're still missing a couple of them, but let's get on here. I would say Paul Westerberg. I think his stories would be outstanding. I want to know about throwing the tapes in the river. There's so much going on. There's so much to unpack on that band and that breakup. And like, I would be willing to bet I could sit down with him for like 3 or 4 hours and just drink and be stupid. I don't think he drinks anymore. It's probably not allowed.
Yeah. What did Mike Willerson call him? The mints?
Did he?
Yeah. I kept trying. Who the hell is he talking about? The replacements. Oh,
the mats.
The mats.
I'm like, the mints? What the fuck is a mints?
The mat.
Yeah, the replacements. That's one of the questions I like to ask. If we're having a good interview, I'll ask our guests, like, if you could be on stage with any band, live or dead, who would it be? And the actual answers get, I'm like, wow, I would not have seen that coming. Chris from Fairville is like Bauhaus. I was like, okay, didn't see that coming at all. They're a hardcore band.
Mm-hmm. You know, Paul, it's interesting because I mean, Gizz will tell you, I'm always interested in who people are listening to, what they're digging. I like to share different bands that don't, they don't have the biggest presence out there, maybe, or, And Paul, look, I can totally tell that you're a Swiftie for sure.
Oh yeah.
I'll ask people about what's your current earworm, and they'll give me some bands that you would never know about. Maybe they're like a local band or whatever. And then I check them out, and there's so much good talent out there.
Oh yeah. And we had Mike on from Junior Juggernaut, and I couldn't get that off my radio for a week. I'm like, nope, going back to it. I just kept playing through the catalog. God, this is really fucking good.
Every time I would show up here at the studio, it'd be on, and he has a nice system out here, and so it's blaring and walking in. And wow.
Infamous Stiffs was on there for a long time. They're an absolute hoot to watch those guys. Fairville had their rotation. It's so much fun. And then you make a station out of those guys, and you wind up on a Spotify deal, and you wind up seeing what they're listening to or what there's related to, and all of a sudden you've got 24 bands you never heard of before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I look at Spotify is it's a rental place. One of the things that I'm all about is supporting bands and buying their merch, buying their music, stuff like that. I think it's great to be introduced to new artists on Spotify. But as I say all the time, and these guys, Gizz has got some music to sell. We know that. But, I'm really, support musicians. I think it's super important. It is so hard these days to make, ends meet and a real living just being a musician. There's...
That's true, because it sucks that you go into the studio. Well, even you go back. You're in a rehearsal studio. You write these songs. You record demos so you can fine-tune songs. You go into a recording studio. You pay thousands upon thousands of dollars to record an album, and then pay thousands upon thousands of dollars to release this record. And mostly people like, oh, you already have it. I downloaded it on Spotify, or I got it on my playlist, or this and that. And people don't realize that what used to make us money. This doesn't pay the bills anymore. Royalties, you don't get royalties anymore. You get
there's nothing.
A shred of a penny for every, stream. But when you go on the road, that's where you make your money off your merchandise. You're not making money off the shows. That barely pays the gas, but your merchandise, your t-shirts, your hats, your, shorts, tote bags, caps, Band-Aid, whatever, yeah.
I mean, every time I go to a show, I bring cash so I can buy merch. That's going to happen no matter what. Even if I'm not 100% about it, but the band's put the effort to be there, and that's no small effort. So, if you got the extra $20 for a t-shirt, spend it, goddammit. And don't go to a third-party website unless you have to. We've got a few bands who are we don't have a merch store. We don't have much merch. It's well, can we help you out? Can we get you started? So that's one of the things with our website that's going to come up, is we're going to start trying to promote and do merch through the website for the bands that don't have that access.
That's something we're doing together too, is that we're going to start our own t-shirt company that we can make t-shirts and tote bags and hats and mugs and anything you can put a band name on, just to help out bands and to help out us and our podcast, and because it's tough to make a living being in a band unless you're on the road, and I've said that a million times. bands that say, I've been in a band for 5 years. Yeah. Oh yeah, we tour a lot. Oh really? Yeah. We went to Vegas. We went to San Diego. Like those are runs. Those are called runs.
Yeah.
You know, where you go for a weekend. That's not a tour. A tour is when you jump in a van and you're gone for a few months. There's no family. You know, your friends are left behind, and it's just, you know, you and 4 or 5 other people in a van.
Stinky, smelly.
And you're just trying to make money. That's a tour. You know, all these bands just, oh yeah, we tour all the time, man. 3 days, you know, a month. That's not touring. I'm sorry. I've been on the road for 6 months at a time, 8 months at a time.
How long were you in Europe?
We'd do 6 weeks over there, come back, do another 6 weeks here. You know, take a couple of weeks off to go back. But to tour the United States, you have to be on the road for 2 months. You're not going to do it in a month. You know,
and you're putting shows almost every night.
Every night. I don't like nights off. Why?
That gets tiring.
You know,
you get a night off and it's like, well, fuck that.
And what do? You have a night off. What do? You drink all day. And it's like, yeah, we get a night off. What's the closest thing? Oh, hopefully there's a beach or something so we can sit on the sand and just drink. Not like you go in the water. I hate beaches.
Oh.
It's like being married and having a relationship. Why take sand to the beach?
That doesn't translate at all. Not even a little bit.
Not quite the same analogy there, but then again, you talk about the runs, and I'm like, well, depending on the food you eat when you're on the road, you may get them anyway.
Oh yeah.
You get the runs on tour.
I have the runs right now.
You don't get to wait. There you go. You're not on tour when you're just doing a run, but you can easily get the runs on tour.
There you go.
That's a T-shirt now.
Yeah, that's a T-shirt.
There it is. There it is. Hey guys, I was thinking of an interesting topic to talk to y'all about. That something that's kind of been on my mind lately. I think about everybody now, who's a musician or loves music, watches. I'll mention his name, Rick Beato's videos, right? You guys see Rick Beato's stuff at all?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Rick Beato does. He's really made an incredible business out of teaching music, analyzing songs, stuff like that. You should check him out. But he recently did a video about how, I can't remember if it was a top 40 or top 50 Billboard, doesn't have bands in it anymore.
No.
Right? Doesn't have bands in it. It's all these individual artists.
Oh, I think I've seen this.
Yeah. And I got to thinking, I'm wondering, and either, tell me if I'm on the right track with this or not, but is punk rock the next real rock and roll? And I say that from this standpoint. There are so many bands these days, even bands that have, a lot of programming in them, right? They'll program the drums, they'll program keyboards, they'll layer things. Punk rock's one of the last places where you've got 4, maybe 5 people with nothing but strings, sticks, and voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I just have this feeling that as you read online about this yearning for musicianship, I think punk rock's going to be the place. What do you think?
I think it already has since '94. Nirvana opened up that door for us. As punk rock became mainstream. You got Green Day, you got the Offspring out there that are they're selling millions of fucking records, but they're still punk rock. And a lot of people that they'll bag. They tend to bag on no effects, but dude, those guys single-handedly have kept punk rock alive and brought it to the masses by opening up the punk rock museum, by having fat records, by signing bands from different countries and smaller bands and promoting those bands. It's punk rock. It is a legitimate, has its place in, like with Stevie Van Zandt. That guy's a blues, rock and roll guitar hero. Yeah, he loves punk rock. Anything that like you said, that is strings and sticks and voices, he loves it. And for a guy of his stature to seek out, punk rock and make it viable and put it on his radio show. I think we are part of the mainstream now, and I think there's going to be a renaissance, right? I mean, because look, let's just between us,
music has gotten slightly homogenized in the last couple of years.
Oh, God,
Let's put it that way, right? And I just get this sense with the activity in the punk scene and the unity of the punk scene that it's united in a way that maybe it hasn't been as strong in the past, or it was, but then we got around to the 2000s and technology really started to take over. I just have this sense that punk is going to be on this Renaissance revival and overtake everything else. I think pop country is going to have reached a peak at some point, and that's starting to get very much where it's artists, right? It's just like these genres are losing the bands, the groups, and they're getting down to that one person in a studio with technology. And I'm not demeaning it. I mean, that's just like I don't demean creativity with AI either. I think it's all how you do it. But when you think about that, really that sticks and strings and voice dynamic of a band, I just have this sense that punk rock is the place.
It's visceral and it's real and it's happening in front of you. You what you're talking about, like some of the acts like Beyonce or Pink or anything that are choreographed on big stages. Even Gwen Stefani's kind of gone there. That's an act. That's not a band. Mm-hmm. There's a big difference between an act and a band. The act goes on the stage and does the same stage show every single time, over and over and over again, so much so that they can do it for 6 months in a row. No, I think No Effects is more of a bunch of retards. But they put on an amazing show.
You got 3 more.
I got 3 more. I've seen them a number of times. They're fantastic on stage, but there is more of a visceral. You see a band on stage like mess up and laugh about it, and that is something you're not going to catch in a big choreographed act.
And if that does happen, that person's getting fired.
Well, not necessarily.
Well, I mean, look, I think you see a lot of excuse me, you see a lot of headliners these days that are, it is a performance. It is choreographed and staged. The musicians are hired, which that's wonderful, because musicians should be hired. But with lighting the way it is these days and everything very specifically timed and choreographed, it's a production. Punk is like they get on whatever the fuck happens for 2 hours. Yeah. I mean, it's just this, whatever goes on. No 2 nights really the same unless you reach that level of a Green Day.
Right.
And
you're never going to see Beyonce like perform in a bar.
No.
That only fits 27 people.
Although I did get to see Prince at the fucking Hard Rock right after No Effects show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
Now that had to be cool.
And it was a private party, so it was really cool. I took my time.
Wait, it's a private party and they let you in? What's that all about?
Well, No Effects played, and Ro Mackenzie's were one of the opening bands, and I was their drum tech that night. So I had heard, okay, the show's over at 11, and you guys got to be out of here by midnight. And at 1 o'clock we have the special engagement that's happening tonight. So I took my time breaking down those drums backstage because I wanted to see who the fuck was coming in. And when I saw Prince walk in, and he just walked on the stage and just went for it. And I got to see, probably 20 minutes of it. And then they were like, all right, dude, you got to go. Okay, kid.
You look
fun bar.
They're like, that dude over there looks pretty dangerous.
Yeah, we have that effect.
Gizz mentioned that when your bromance started, you're out in the audience and you're going to a lot of shows. What has been the best and the worst performances you've ever seen?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Ellis Slumlords.
No. I wasn't going to say that one.
I was just saying that. You may be in a band, but Patty knows where to find me, and I don't want to see her in a dark alley.
Right? I mean, that's a hard one. I saw Bauhaus 3 nights in a row, and they just did not disappoint. It was one of those, like, somebody had tickets, and I got to go to 3 nights to play to. And those guys, Peter Murphy has the best vocal range in rock and roll, period. Mm-hmm. I've never witnessed anybody go that far up and that far down that fast. And he was doing it on stage without any studio tricks. Mm-hmm. And so that band put together that way is spectacular. the worst show I've ever been to. Every backyard show the cops raided in the late '80s. You know, I can jump a fence like a motherfucker, and I am not a skinny guy. Like, you know, the fist fights broke out. I was at a No Effect show at the Palladium in 1980, 92, and there was a riot broke out. I had to run from that one. So, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a band that was so terrible that I didn't want to watch anymore, except for the national anthem at the All-Star game this year. That was really bad.
Wow, we actually watched that together.
We were laughing our asses off.
We were in shock for the first minute.
He goes, she's drunk. And I'm like, she has to be.
Yeah, there was no two ways about it. Like, you don't sing like that unless you're drunk. Trust me, I know.
This is first-hand experience talking here.
Oh, yeah.
And then she came out the next day and said, hey, guys, I was really drunk.
I'm going to rehab.
I think she made the announcement on the way to rehab, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so Paul, have you traveled the country?
A little bit.
Best punk club you've ever seen a show in?
Oh, man. I mean, Fillmore, obviously. I don't know what it was called. There was a place in Calgary that I wound up in for a minute, and there was a great punk show going on. I was somewhere outside the giant mall, and it was this dive bar. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. I saw Sicko in Bellingham.
Oh, wow, Sicko. I haven't heard that in years.
Dive Bar by the Mall. That's a song title right there.
Mall Adjacent is another.
That's a band.
Another band name. Mall Adjacent.
That's real estate related. It's Mall Adjacent. Bonus room.
But so you've never been to the best punk bar in all of the world, then?
Which?
Double Down.
No, I've never been.
Seriously, dude, I wore this just for Gizz. Just for Gizz, I got my Double Down Saloon. Sure, and you've never been to the Double Down?
Never been to Double Down. I grew up.
What do you live in mom's basement? Seriously, dude.
No, I grew up poor, and now I'm poor again. I don't get out much.
That was one of the places that I wanted to go to. When we were in Vegas for punk rock bowling. Oh yeah, for punk rock bowling, we went out there together, and we had a lot of plans. But you get me and him together, and it's just drunken.
We stayed at a friend's house and had a pool. You have to ask James about steak in a pool.
Yeah. Ask him about steak in a pool.
We had.
Wait, where were you guys staying? Which pool?
It was a friend of mine's house. He's got a house in Vegas.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and so we basically we all had bedrooms and bathrooms and steak and a pool, and so
and a fucking fridge full of booze and beer.
And we're all in our 50s, so we're over the do we have to go out or we could just stay in?
We went to the punk rock museum and we got kicked out. Like
we never got in.
Yeah, he got out of the car. Damn, get out.
Just kicked you out?
No, he actually came in and tried to get us in, and he's like, "Yeah, dude."
The bouncer goes, "Are you drunk?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You're not coming in." I'm like, "Fair enough. I'll go home."
Well, definitely the next time you're out in Vegas. I mean, I can't believe you have not known the joy of ass juice.
Yeah. Oh man, ass juice, dude.
I heard it called ass nog. I'm in.
Well, it's the holiday season, and ass nog is it is their signature seasonal beverage, ass nog. And you've never known the joy of liquid on your lips until you've downed a shot of ass nog.
Okay.
Actually, I prefer the juice, not the nog. But I don't celebrate Christmas, so why would I drink nog?
There you go.
Remember our last conversation when you did bring up the whole thing about booze and milk? That drink, the Irish American, it's whiskey.
It's whiskey, Shanky's Whip, Coca-Cola, and cream.
Yeah.
And Shanky's Whip is an Irish toffee liqueur, and it is.
It is so good. I could go for one right now.
I could go.
I got an iron stomach, but I'll be honest. I grew up in Western New York, and I'll never forget this. My friend Eric Trumpowski and I think it was the weekend we graduated or during our senior year. They had this ice cream place called Friendly's, right? I don't know why it was called Friendly's. I mean, I never had a friendly feeling or experience there.
I just yelled at everybody all day long.
But it's like it's like they walk in and like, what the hell are you doing here? Get out. But they had this shake that they would make called the Fribble. I'll never forget because it's such a weird name, Fribble. So we were at his parents' house one night, and I think it's okay to tell this story. I believe they passed on, unless unless there's YouTube in the afterlife, could happen. But I think we mixed rum with these milkshakes.
Oh yeah,
and it was the most vile drinking experience I'd ever had. Even though I was young in my drinking years, it was disgusting. So
we've been down to the end of the bar before, and I think the worst one I ever had was peppermint schnapps and clamato. That was just a really bad fucking idea. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. You're still thirsty. What are you gonna do?
I was 18.
Like orange juice after toothpaste.
I was 18, hanging out with a buddy of mine, and he was having issues with his parents. He was living with a friend of his, and they had a pool. And since we both didn't really, go to school, it was right before we graduated. We were at the house.
How'd you graduate without going to school?
I didn't graduate. He did, or my buddy did.
I did.
But, yeah, you did.
I could read too.
I quit school in junior high, but we were at the house, and we wanted to have a drink, and I had just started drinking, so there was vodka, and we're like, hey, screwdrivers, and we couldn't find any orange juice in the house. We didn't have any money, so we mixed Tang and vodka.
That's a drunken astronaut.
Is it?
Yeah. If you want to spice it up, you add a little bit of orange liqueur. That's a Buzz Aldrin.
Just out of curiosity, how many? Is it because you've drank all of these at bars, or have you been a bartender in your career?
I just drink too much. We did Tang and vodka because I used to walk to work. It was only a block from my house, and I could go home for lunch. And so during the summer, I had a pool up. I lived in a warehouse. We had a pool in the front yard kind of area. And I could go home, jump in the pool, towel off, go in the kitchen, make a bologna sandwich with some chips and Tang. And I felt like I was at summer camp. So I'm in my my early 40s, and I'm just or actually late 30s, I think. I'm like, this is awesome. I feel like I'm at summer camp. I can jump in the pool. And then one day I was like, well, naturally, we should probably put some vodka in the Tang and see where this goes. And then 2 days later, we're playing Battleship for shots with Tang and vodka.
They still make Tang. I even remember that from a kid. They still make it. Wow.
It's awesome.
Wow.
With a little bit of cream.
I'm busy the next few days, but if you reach out to NASA, see if you can get Tang to sponsor your podcast.
Oh my God, we all just make up our sponsors.
We do have a sponsor though, is Transplants Brewing Company, which is I think the best venue that in America that I've ever played.
Which one?
Transplants Brewing Company in Palmdale. It's the best venue in America, I would say. They
have a really great sound system that'll record your live shows for you and hook you up.
Nice.
Yeah, and they got quality too. Let
me tell you something. There, Squeeze, the band Squeeze, for years did it where you'd purchase prior to the show, you'd buy a ticket, you'd bring it back after, and they'd burn you a CD or a USB with the show on it, and you could buy it that night, and it was fully mixed and everything. So you got every single stop on a tour, but every performance. They haven't done it in the last few years, but I think that's brilliant, and it's a great way to make some extra money as a band. Is literally before it even hits YouTube, you're selling everybody, in the audience.
That night show.
Yeah, are they still touring?
Squeeze? Oh, hell yeah. I just photographed them a few weeks ago. They were here in Dallas, and tonight is the first night of their fall 50th anniversary tour in the UK. Yeah.
50th anniversary.
Damn.
And dude, I mean, they are, there are artists who make a career trying to reach a range or do something that's not sustainable. The band is as good, if not better, than they've ever been. And you've got amazing people in that band. And Glenn and Chris are still top of form. They are a band in every sense of the word, even though some of the names have changed. They are tight, and the performance is amazing. Yeah. So.
Right. I saw Paul Weller. I think Friday night. I think Paul Weller at the Orpheum Friday night, and not a huge Paul Weller fan. I love the jam, but he tends to get a little vanilla soul. His band, however, was just banging. I mean, 2 percussionists. The guitar player was as slick as I've ever seen. The bass player looked like an Eddie Vedder dropped him off on the side of the road. And it was just the vocals, all the harmonizing was just spectacular. So I know what you mean.
Yeah, I got to tell you, last week at 84 years old, I saw Tom Jones light up a theater here. Women were still throwing their panties on stage.
They were bigger.
And after a double hip replacement 2 years ago, he brings it like I mean, it's just an amazing performance, and he still brings it and lays on the stage every single night.
Oh yeah, he's a kick-ass performer.
Oh yeah.
Toots, before he died, Toots, everybody saw him a number of years ago. He's in his 70s. He's doing backflips on stage. He's like, I couldn't do that with a trampoline in my front yard sober.
Well, you're sober.
Doesn't happen very often. Yeah, I'd love to see the old performers going for it, especially with the rock stuff. Now, like even Steven Tyler, I like see some of the stuff every once in a while. He's wandering down the street and somebody's playing a guitar, and he'll just jump in and sing. I'm like, that's cool. That's kind of like rock and roll class, you know, like willing to do it.
Yeah.
Look, I think if you're willing to walk down a street and you see someone busking and you start singing with them, and there's, you know, it's raw sound through the mic, and you can do it without any assistance, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I think that's a true performer. I feel bad for Aerosmith because their grand hurrah kind of fizzled away pretty quick. But you know, he's one of those artists where how do you sustain singing in the same key all those years with the beating the back of his throat took?
Right.
As I say that and realize that I
was just
about a dozen damn jokes.
Dick jokes. We should have a whole segment called Dick Jokes.
But yeah, you know, it's hard. I mean, if you saw, you know, Phil Collins on his last tour, Rod Stewart's struggling these days. You know, when you made a career out of trying to do vocal somersaults, it takes its toll, and sometimes it you know, I feel bad for the performer if they can't pull off their kind of signature trademark anymore, right? You know.
Yeah, sometimes the band's got to kind of come down.
Then when they got to change keys,
they got to change key, and that is really it changes the dynamic, I think. And you have to be a good musician at that point. Your musicianship has to be way up here to be able to translate down a half step so you can accommodate your singer.
But a lot of the times when you do change the key of a song so that you can hit a certain note to make it sound like that, you lose that magic.
Yeah.
You know, there's been several times in bands that I've been in where, you know, I walk away from a band and, you know, years later we get together for a reunion and they're like, oh, you're really not hitting that note. Well, just let me find it. Let me get that magic back. Don't change it. You know, like, you know, that's the way I sang it originally. I'll be able to hit it, just not today.
Just a throat massage.
But also the key to being a great singer is if you're on stage and you're singing and you know a note is coming up and you know you're not going to hit it because you can already feel your throat closing up, and you just go for another note that's just as magical, that makes you a great singer.
And improvising.
Yeah, and
improvising.
And I've had to do that many nights.
Yeah. Well, and improvising. I mean, again, I photograph shows from stadiums to clubs. I have gotten to a point where I really just love club shows where there can be some spontaneity and there can be an opportunity that it's not so locked into production, that there is improvisation, so that every guitar solo isn't the same every single night, or that they can, you know, they can call an audible and swap out a song because they just know it.
Yeah.
I kind of miss those days. I mean, one artist that does a really great job with that, I think, is Ben Folds. He's always been like, you know, whatever comes to mind, or he creates a song with the crowd, and now he's on this Paper Airplane tour where during the intermission, everybody writes down a song request, one of his songs, and they throw airplanes at the stage, and he picks.
Oh wow, that's fucking cool.
You know, and it takes a certain performer to be able to just do that.
Well,
right?
he is a genius. I mean, that guy is just he's oozing music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a chance to meet him a couple of times. I'd love to sit down and talk to him, not only about what he does on stage, but his photography as well. He's an amazing photographer, and he really has an eye for it. So it's there's a double conversation to be had there if I can ever nail him down for my podcast.
Hopefully.
Guys, this has been fantastic. Paul, we just cracked the surface with you. I know there's a soft interior under there. Maybe we'll get a chance to do that when I'm on your podcast sometime.
There you go.
It's always great to see Gizz. I mean, Gizz is like sunshine. He's got to be there every day. He brings it with the darkest lyrics possible, but he brings the sunshine. So it's been great. Everybody, check out their podcast. You know what you should do? D-U. And check them out live on Mondays on Facebook, right? You go live on
Facebook and YouTube.
Facebook and YouTube.
Facebook and YouTube on Mondays. They have 9 months recording. The baby's due any time now. They got some big guests coming up. We talked about who their big guests might be if they had the opportunity. Maybe they're watching this and they get an idea and they're like, hey, I gotta get with these guys because I'm gonna get shit-faced drunk and tell people things I should never tell them in my life.
Exactly.
Edit it so that I don't get killed by an ex. So, guys, it's been fabulous seeing you, getting to know you a little bit. All the best with your podcast, and I hope to see you guys on yours soon.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you. And everybody out there, please continue to subscribe, share these if you enjoy them. Give us ideas. We are all about inviting new, different talent. These guys could use it as well. Follow them, subscribe to their channel as well, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for hanging with us.